Hi, I'm Jill. In our previous video, we worked on sun salutations, and now we're going to start the standing practice. So come on over to Samasetihi, where everything is the same. And then from here, we're just going to go ahead and either step or jump out about hip width. We're coming into a forward bend, or Padangustasana as we call it. Pull the belly in and come forward. If you need to, go ahead and bend the knees if this is hard, and grab the toes with the first two fingers and the thumb wrapping around. You're not pushing your hands into the floor, you're rather pulling from your back muscles. Gently start to straighten your legs, and then notice, is your weight back or can you pull it forward? And then pull down even more, pulling in the belly, and breathe. We stay here for 5 breaths, inhaling. And a gentle pull from the back muscles. Make sure you're not pulling from your neck, right? The shoulders will go down your back and wide. And now inhale, look up and lengthen, draw the belly back, right? And then let's make a modification here where we grab the back of the calves, because this is accessible for everyone, and you can really pull the body down doing this. Same thing here, don't let the shoulders lift, pull from your back muscles. And just breathe here, inhale and exhale. A couple more breaths, inhale and exhale. And now to come up, inhale, look up and lengthen. Take your hands to your waist and try to straighten your back. Make sure you're not rounded. Come up as high as you need to find this lengthened spine. And from here, we're just coming all the way up, inhaling, and then step everything together to Samasetihi. And now we're going to take a big step out. So with your right foot, we're trying to let this flow as much as we can. So try to be very light, just a gentle step out, right? And then we're going to turn the feet. So the back foot turns in a little bit and the front foot turns out. You may have noticed I put some blocks here. These are optional. If they help you, great. They might come in handy. Let's go ahead and come into Trikonasana, the first standing pose. So I stepped out, I turned the left foot in, the right foot out, and I'm starting to come into the pose. There's different variations. You could have your hand on your shin. You could opt to use the block to stay up. Or in Ashtanga, they do the yogi toe lock here, where you hook the first 2 fingers and wrap the thumb around. And then you start to turn the ribs. Make sure your head is in alignment with the tailbone and not going forward or backward, right? That will throw you off, as you saw there. And then just keep breathing here. Inhale, reaching, straight legs, 5 breaths. And after the 5th breath, inhale, rise up. And now we're gonna pivot the feet to the other side. Try to move smoothly here. Turning the right foot in, the left foot out. You feel these under the butt muscles, turning your hips and the inner thigh muscles. Inhale, you can come to the shin or the block or the yogi toe lock. And breathe. So really feel the left ribs turning to the right, the head aligning with the tailbone, and then you gently gaze up to your hand if that doesn't throw you off. And then with an inhalation, rising up, inhale. The standing postures are great because they allow you to really work on your balance as well as opening the hips and strengthening the hips. So in Pavrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle, this time we're rolling the inner thighs in and the hips are facing one direction. And we're going to take this into a twist. Challenges your balance. So coming forward, you could take your hand on your shin. You could use the block, or if you're more flexible, you could put your hand on the ground. Now you look straight ahead. I like to look at my big toe and make sure my spine stays long, and then I'm gonna turn, but it's just the ribs, right? I'm not crunching into my rib cage, I'm lengthening out. Then I gently take the gaze up to my hand. I'm pulling the right butt back with the right butt. You really need that as you rise up. Inhale. This one will really challenge your balance. Pivoting. So remember, both hips are facing forward. You're rolling the inner thighs in, and we're starting to come across. If you need to bend the knee, that's acceptable. It's okay. You could use the block too, and then the next choice, hand on the floor, right? Align your spine, looking at the big toe for a moment, and keep the crown of the head moving away from the tailbone as you just turn your right ribs to the left. Lengthen your head away from your tailbone. Gently look up to the left hand as you breathe. One more breath. Look down to come up. Inhale, and we can come into Samasthiti again. And now we're going to step back out again. Lightly turn the right foot, and then we're going to bend the front knee. This is Utthita Parshvakonasana, extended side angle pose. So to come into the pose, you can take your forearm down first, or you could take your hand to the block, or you could have your hand on the floor. I'm going to use the block for this one, maybe on this level. You can take the left arm. I like this action. It puts the shoulder in a nice place. Gently drop, circle, and then start to turn the ribs. And then gently, if you can, the gaze is up to the hand, or maybe it's to the elbow. Any way that you feel a lengthening in your neck and not a cranking in your neck, right? You don't want to do that. So stay here, breathe. You feel the side angle and rise up. It's a beautiful side body stretch. Turning the right foot in and the left foot out. We come to the other side. You can gently take your arm here. You could take it on the block. You could take it on the floor. This arm is going to circle. And then from there, lengthening the crown of the head from the tailbone, turn the left ribs to the right now. Gently gazing under the arm, maybe to the elbow or to the hand, and breathe. Feel that long line from the pinky finger of the right hand to the baby toe of the right foot. Side stretch. And then inhale, rise up. And we're going to pivot and do the revolved variation. So coming around, I'm going to modify this a little bit. We're going to go ahead and take the hands down to the floor. Take the left knee down. Try to be in front of the kneecap, not right on the kneecap. And we're going to take this into a lunge, but try to keep your knee over your ankle in this lunge. We're going to prepare for Pavrita Parshvakonasana by doing a little back bend first in a posture sometimes called Anjane or angel asana. So to start, we're in this lunge. Let your elbows come in for a moment, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Now to find a nice back bend here, we're going to drop the shoulder blades down, but instead of squishing them together, they are retracting, but instead of squishing together, get a sense of widening so you involve more muscles in your back, like your lats. And you want to lift the sternum up. So the back is working, the sternum lifts. And we come into this beautiful pose, this lifting, sternum, back is working, sternum is lifting, and then we rise up. And now we'll come into Pavrita Parshvakonasana. So it's a modified version. We're going to come around. I like this version starting with the knee down so you can get in your twist a little deeper. Come across. You're going to take the hands to prayer position here. I like to look down at my front toe and then tuck the back knee, the back toes under, and reach through the back leg. So you have to use your right glutes a lot. Now, lengthen from the crown of the head long and the tailbone long, and just turn the ribs, but don't turn your upper body too much. And then start to gently take your gaze around. And you can look wherever you feel steady. And then we're going to rise up. You notice the glute involvement when you do that, and pivot to the other side. So we'll go ahead, take the hands down, come to the front of the kneecap, nice lunge, keeping the knee over the ankle, and then we start this beautiful back bend. So the shoulders down and wide, and you start to activate the back muscles. So activate the back, lift the front. Activate the back, lift the front. The sternum is lifting, really feeling that openness and breathing. And then inhale, rise up. And now we'll come into the pose. So start to take your right arm across. Get across as much as you can. Then we tuck the back toe under, right? And you're gonna take your gaze down, like near your front toe, and lift the back knee off. Using the left glute, start to turn. Keep your gaze down at first, and then if this feels really good, you can turn your gaze up or not, right? And then we take a big step up to the front, Samasthiti. And now we're gonna step out for Prasarita Padottanasana, right? So have your feet as wide as you might need to get your head down as close to the floor as possible. So this is a series of 4 forward bends. You're going to take your hands on your waist, pull the belly in, inhale here, exhale, come forward. If you were going to use a block, you would place it here and put your head on it, right? And you walk the hands through, make a nice right angle at your elbows and pull your head down. Again, make sure that your hips are not behind you or in front of the ankles. They're right where they need to be, right in alignment with the ankles. And then engage the quads, the front of the legs, to stretch the back of the legs. Inhale, look up and lengthen, and rise. And then the second one, we're going to reach out, take the hands here, let the shoulders drop down the back and widen and start to come forward, right? Same thing, you're trying, this time you don't use your hands. Just allow the head to come down. It could be on a block. Breathing, shoulders down and wide, belly in, legs engaged. Inhale, look up and lengthen, and rise. I always stop and adjust my feet in between. This next one is generally taught with the hands behind interlacing. However, I find for most people, it's more accessible to go deeper into the pose and to get nice shoulder extension if you use a prop, maybe your yoga towel, or if you have an exercise band, those work really well too. So holding on to that, right? Allow the shoulders, it sounds weird, but allow them to roll in, right? This is gonna give you more shoulder extension. It's gonna open you up a little bit. So from here, with the shoulders rolling a little in, you start to come forward. Now, don't squeeze the shoulders together, rather drop them down and widen, right? And then just make sure you're not doing anything funky with your wrists. Start to come over, taking the head down, and then just really taking your time to breathe into the pose, right? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. A couple more breaths. Exhale. Don't push, just go where your body will go. Inhale. For years, I did this pose with my hands interlaced and like this, and they went to the floor. But I have to be honest with you, if I really am honest with myself, I never really liked the way it felt. It always hurt my shoulder. So I love this modification. And now the last one is, I think, the easiest one. We're gonna come forward, pull the belly in, and we're gonna do that yogi toe lock again. And using your back muscles, so you're not up here, you're down here and wide, pull the body down to the floor. Breathe, inhale, and exhale. Breathing, exhale. Prasarita, it's an intense, that's what it means, intense pose. Pada, grabbing the toes again. So let's step forward, Samasthiti. This next pose has an arm variation in reverse prayer. It's Parshvottanasana. So the hands come back this way, right? And then they come up your back this way, like this, right? And it allows the sternum to lift. It's a very nice pose, but it's really not accessible to everyone. So let's go ahead. I'm going to teach you this way. If you like that way, definitely do it. This way I like. We're going to take the hands on the bottom ribs. And with the hands on the bottom ribs, we're going to do that same thing where you kind of push down, the shoulders down, and then widen. So the sternum then lifts, right? And then we're going to start this way. So we take a big step out with the right foot. We're facing directly this way, right? And now we're going to come into the forward bend. So find that sense of lift, that widening. Inhale and exhale, come forward. Keep trying to pull your right hip back. That will give you more stability. And come forward and just take it to where you can, right? Breathing. Maybe you want to drop the head and gazing just down to the ground or down to your foot or to your leg. And then inhale, start to rise up and come all the way up. And from here, find that lift of the sternum again. And then we'll start to pivot to the other side. Same thing here. Shoulders down and wide, inhale. Exhale, coming into Parsvottanasana. And from here, keep pulling that left butt back and allow your body to go deeper. You might want to bow the head in. And then inhale, lengthen, and we rise all the way up and come to Samasthiti. And then now we're going to go into some balancing. So we're going to do Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, which is really just extended hand to toe pose. You can use the wall for this. So lightly touching the wall often is really nice. The leg comes up, right? The right leg. You can bend the knee, grab the toe, and then inhale here, extend the leg. A more advanced variation would be to draw in this way and come to a forward bend for 5 breaths. But you don't have to do that. Find a gaze point, maybe along the floor, maybe a little low down the wall, and see if you can find some find stability by doing that. And then inhale here, exhale, the leg goes out to the side, right? And you can stay here, and you can play with that balance, right? Maybe you don't need the wall. The hand will be on the waist. And then the leg comes back. Keep that gaze point to the wall and down a little bit. You can start to come forward, playing with that. Rise up. Keep the leg out here. This is the hardest part. And then slowly let it come down. And now we're going to do the other side. So let the left leg come up. You could bend your knee if you needed to. Grab the toe. Find your gaze point, right, along the wall and down. Forward bend if that's in your practice. You're pushing your foot into your hand and pulling with your hand. Inhale to create some energy in the leg. Exhale, open the leg out to the side. Breathing here, you could take your gaze to the right if that was your practice, or keep it where it was. And then start to take the leg back again. And if it's in your practice, you can fold in, rise up, and then keep the leg out there. Keep that gaze. Breathe, breathe. Inhale, exhale, and slowly lower. The next standing pose is Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana, which is a half-bound lotus forward bend. And it's not really accessible to a lot of my students. So I'm going to teach tree pose and a modified version of Ardha Baddha bound lotus to start with to get into the pose. So you could stay here and use the wall as I'm going through it. I'm going to step this way so you can see better what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this way. The right leg will come up and you're going to bend the knee, right? And then start to turn the hip out from the hip joint, right? Feel that. And maybe you just go here, but maybe you can hold on to the foot with the left hand and let the knee drop some, drawing the tail under, and just feel that sense of opening in the hips. Now we take that foot and you put it right on the inner thigh for tree pose or vrikshasana, and just breathe here, drawing the butt under and opening the knee out, right? The belly stays in. You could take it somewhere beautiful. Just be expressive. Go somewhere where you want to go. You can change your gaze or your drishti up and open and breathe. Open, open like a tree with flowers, right? And then slowly coming down. I like that feeling of rooting down like a tree and then everything rises up and opens everywhere. So let's go to the other side. So again, you could use the wall, right? The left leg comes up, you bend the knee, let the knee come down so you get a nice hip stretch, right? Pull the belly in, pause for a moment, and then we're going to take it to tree pose or vrikshasana. And then take the hands together, make sure the tail is down and the knee is open, and breathe here. And then you can take your journey somewhere really expressive. Inhale, lift up. Really breathe, enjoy the pose and the freedom. Inhale here and exhale slowly, slowly coming back down. And we come back to Samasthiti. And then from here, we're going to do a vinyasa. So inhale, reach your arms up. exhale, fold. Inhale here, look up and lengthen. Take your body back to plank. Hold the plank for a moment. We're gonna do that little push-up, so find your gaze, lowering, rising, coming through to upward facing dog, pressing down, lifting that sternum, and then take it back to downward facing dog. And breathe here. Inhale and exhale, just one breath. And now we're gonna either step up or jump up to your hands. Find your gaze point, take your feet there. Bend the knees, we come into Utkatasana or chair pose. Reach, remember, don't stick the butt out. Don't tuck it under too much, just right in the middle. Breathe, gazing, 5 breaths here. It's intense pose. Breathe. And one more breath and fold. Another vinyasa. Inhale, look up and lengthen. If you wanted to, you could jump, but you don't have to, right? But see if you can really keep your arms in the same place. And it's solid that way. And then another vinyasa. So bending, coming into your push-up. And upward facing dog. Shoulders down and wide. Lift the sternum. Coming into downward facing dog. And now we're gonna step into warrior one. You could set your back foot and step up. Reaching your arms. Inhale, 5 breaths here. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Breathing. One more breath. Lifting the sternum. Inhale, try to keep your gaze up as best you can and turn your feet, coming into warrior one on the other side. See if you can feel what your feet are doing rather than looking down, because it doesn't have to be perfect. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. Breathing. Feeling that right butt coming under. So from here, we're gonna transition to warrior two, staying on the left side. So I like to feel a sense of rising up and opening out. Start to bend your front knee so the thigh can become parallel to the floor maybe, and a gentle gaze down the left fingertips. Breathe. Another breath or two. And now inhale, rise up, turning the feet, and then slowly melting into the pose with that sense of lift. Bend, breathe, inhale, gazing over the fingertips. Strong warrior pose, reaching with your arms. One more breath. Exhale here, the hands will come down to the floor and you step back. This will be the last vinyasa, and lower down, lower and rise and come through. Feel how open things are feeling now. Inhale, lifting up, and slowly take it back to downward facing dog and breathe. And that's the end of the standing poses. That was the standing sequence part of the practice. And if it resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe and hit that little bell icon, and then you will be notified every time we release a video. In my next video, I plan on teaching arm balances. And then after that, some of the seated poses. And then we'll flow from that into some back bending poses and then a closing. So I hope to see you next time, and thank you so much for watching. Namaste.